Hello, KN here, and I just want to give you a little update on my October Art Challenge. And if you missed my video earlier when I explained what the challenge I was going to undertake, I said that I did make prompts for 31 days, but I originally intended to take 2 or even possibly 3 months to finish them. I wanted to do a little better job than I didn't want to have to rush through them. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, just to get them done in October. So I had some intentions that I didn't totally stick with, other than I did stick with the prompts, and I did this from 2 lists. One list has various animals and insects, I guess. Spider, I know there's a spider on there. And the other list is just kind of like some random words. And so those I just paired across instead of trying to figure out what would go nice with something. I just took them as they came and paired the 2 prompts in each illustration. And I wanted to take my time and, do a decent job of these. So the left side, I did my sketches, my ideas, and I did start on some of my ideas before October actually started. And then the right side would be my actual illustration. And I wanted to take a little time with it. So I kind of am going to try to be done by December, if possibly by the end of November, so taking 2 months instead of 1. In other words, I did half the prompts roughly in October. So I was successful in that, so I feel pretty good about that. So I thought I would just go ahead and give you a tour of that first half of the October Art Challenge. So here we go. This one was mouse and stripes on day 1, and I just kind of went with, I did have the idea of a little mouse like with a little towel cape type thing with stripes, but otherwise it was mainly striped clothing, and so that's just what I went ahead and went with. I had a lot of fun. I used a mix of watercolor and gouache on this. I was kind of playing with some Art Nouveau style. My original intention was to go with that style for borders throughout, and I didn't stick with that, but here and there you'll see that kind of what I think of, my take on Art Nouveau style, kind of pop up here and there. So this is mouse and stripes. Also, these are the ones I've made into stickers so far, and the mouse was actually my October Sticker Club reward, the sticker that they received. In November, they'll be receiving this one. This one will be at a future date, so I'm just going to kind of cover it up for now. So mouse and stripes, and then this one I struggled with a bit. I had the idea, it's fox and mushroom. I had the idea of a fox, in a mushroomy forest, and that might have been easier to stick with, but then I had the idea of making him kind of grow off of his back. And I kind of couldn't get that out of my mind. I want to pursue this, but I haven't yet, is a little a fox curled up that looks like a mushroom cap. I thought that would be really fun, but I haven't pursued it any further, but there is that little sketch. So I ended up playing around with it on this tracing butter paper, whatever it's called, just trying to get the placement figured out, and then I transferred that onto here. So this is what I ended up with for my fox and mushroom. And I believe this one is in acrylic gouache with some Neo Art pastels, colored pencil, and then acrylic brush pens, which I have been using like crazy lately. And so my original plan was to kind of go with gouache. This one is traditional gouache and watercolor. I kind of used both of those interchangeably. This one is acrylic gouache and Neo Art colored pencil, a mixed media version. This one was goose and scarf, so kind of obvious where to go with that. I'm not happy with the background I did on this. I'm okay with the goose. I decided to go with kind of the feel of a Canadian goose because we saw a lot of those this summer in Minnesota, and so I thought that would be kind of a fun thing to do and striking color-wise. But not terribly happy with that, but that's okay. Just keep moving on. This one was bear and library. I kind of like this pose of this bear just kind of hunched down with a book in the library. And I kind of wish maybe I would have pursued that. But instead, it just struck me that the idea of making this a librarian, a little play on words, and so I kind of went with that. So I've got the librarian here in the library and putting away some books, and just kind of went with that, and it's fine. I'm not thrilled with it, but it's fine. And this one was rat and paint. So of course I thought of a artist rat. I do kind of like this pose, but I like the idea of him actively painting. So I kind of went with that idea and put him in a studio here. I actually traced this image and then figured out the rest of it. I really like the idea of his easel as a coat hanger. I thought that was really fun. So there's some things I like about it. I'm not sure about this background. I feel like it needs something, but again, I just moved on. This one, let's see, and this one I think was still a mix of watercolor and gouache. This one I did with the acrylic brush paint pens. I have a couple different brands, Artex and Ohuhu, which I'm actually really like the Ohuhu. They're kind of juicier. But several of these have run out because I've been using them so much. So I think I'll be getting some more. I also have the Sharpie ones, which I really like, but they don't come in very many colors. I also don't like that you have to look at the end to see what the color is. Like, it's amazingly hard, like when they're all stacked together, to see what the color is. So I wish the whole cap was the color. But otherwise they work really nice. I just wish they came in more variety of colors. So that one is with the acrylic brush pens, and I think I used a little colored pencil on here too, just final touches. So raccoon and avocado, pretty happy with that one. I had some other ideas of him just holding an avocado, or his body is an avocado, but then I kind of hit on this idea of him sitting in a whole heap of avocados, and so this was kind of the compromise of the different sketches. And this one was skunk and book, so of course I had to have a skunk reading a book. I also thought about a book about a skunk, which I kind of like that too, and I may do something more with that. But I did make him reading a book called Little Stinker. And this one's kind of like springtime. I just picked bright colors because I knew he was going to be black. Another thing that was new for me on this one was I really tried playing with, you know, when something is super black, it's got kind of a blue shine to it, and I kind of played with that here. Fairly happy with how that turned out, but that was kind of a new thing for me to play with. And then this one was possum and flannel, and I kind of had the idea, well, I had the idea of a possum hanging upside down wearing flannel shirt or flannel pajamas, and I'm kind of coming down over his head, but I couldn't quite decide how to draw that effectively where you could tell what was going on. So my other idea was to do kind of look like a family portrait or something of, like, I think of like Uncle Jim or something like that, wearing his flannel shirt and flannel jacket, and so I kind of went with that idea and just made him kind of a blotchy background. And this again is with acrylic brush pens, and had a lot of fun using those. I'm not super happy with my plaid. I need to play a little bit more with how to make plaid, but the whole general concept of it and the colors I like quite well. And then this one is my cat eating a piece of pie. Tried some different ideas. I like this one best, where the cat was holding a piece of pie that it's eating, and so I just kind of expanded that to where he had the whole pie minus one piece here, like the cat snuck in early to Thanksgiving dinner or something like that. Had fun playing with color in this too, putting some lavenders and some coral in here. I'm also really happy with this one. This was still kind of back to that Art Nouveau idea and just kind of framing the piece, and I kind of sketched it in with this color and decided I really like that. So it's acrylic paint marker plus a colored pencil here, and I left it pretty monochromatic except for the squash. So this is a weasel and squash. But I also like my other sketches over here, which are probably hard to see. So I'm kind of hoping to someday go back and do something with those, finish those up. The colors that I really liked was the Luminance Warm Earth 40%. And I had some gray in there also, but I really like that effect, so I'm going to have to remember that. This one is crow and cottage, so I was trying to make something kind of spooky. I used a black Tombow and then added water to it, and that's pretty much the house. And then I just drew in these little crows like they're flying out of the chimney. It's okay. I'm not thrilled with this one, but it's okay. Number 12 is bee and wildflower. So I kind of did a framed situation. I don't like the bee very good. I wish I would have done like a little bit more realistic, not realistic, but less cartoony than this bee. But again, it's okay. This one is spider and acorn, and I had the idea to make part of the spider's body a acorn, so that's what I went with, except I flipped him around the other direction. I kind of like this. It's got that kind of Art Nouveau look border here again. I like the fall colors. I like the color scheme of it. You can see I was sketching with a red pencil, and you can see a lot of that here. I had a lot of missteps before I came up with my final design, but I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. Okay, this one is not quite done, so that is my exception. I need to come back. I'm struggling with, I want an owl wrapped up with a quilt, but I'm kind of struggling with how that quilt would be laying. So I've painted over it a time or two, and I'm still haven't got it quite right, so still working on that one. So except for that part, I really like this quilt border that I put on it with this arch and the branch extending, so I like the composition of it. I just need to get that his quilt that's wrapped around him sorted out. Also, I'm happy with this one. This one was dog and oak leaf, and I tried to keep it kind of loose, and again I've kind of played with using some kind of unusual for me color. I used some purple and blue and gray in here, but I think the overall effect is good. I like the amount of contrast. I like that I made this really dark in the background, and the framing of it I think is kind of fun, so I'm pretty happy with that one. This one I am not thrilled with the outcome, but I really liked this idea of the lizard dressed up as a postman. The prompt was lizard and letter. So he's carrying this big letter. I was thinking about snail mail. My other idea, which I didn't really get sketched out, was a lizard riding a horse carrying the mail like the Pony Express. I thought that would be really fun, but I just put the lizard in his hometown in the desert, I guess, delivering the letters. So that was that one, and that is as far as I've gotten. I've gotten some ideas for future ones down the road, but haven't finished them yet, so I'm going to stop there, and we will tour the rest of it when I get it done. This was also done mostly with acrylic paint pen. Also some colored pencil. Mainly those paint pens though. They're easy to take with me. I can sit and do it on my lap without the mess of paints, and I've just gotten a little bit addicted to those lately for sketchbook play. So let me know which one's your favorite so far, and I'll talk to you again when I get the rest of the prompts finished. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Now if you'd like, stay tuned for some clips of working on these pages.